Jamir Watkins has an official list. Officially, there's officially an official list for Jamir Watkins. I'm tired, man. It's only Monday. I'm already delirious. Hey, my school's on this list. Hey. St. John's, Michigan, Oregon, Kansas State, Cincinnati, and Florida State are the schools that Jamir Watkins is considering. That is per John Rothstein. Just to summarize quickly, Trilly put out that it was St. John's and Michigan and other schools potentially. Then Trilly last night had an update that Michigan is in the driver's seat for this recruitment over St. John's. Now John Rothstein gives us the first official list. Public schools, St. John's, Michigan, Florida State, Oregon, Kansas State, and Cincinnati in that order. Florida State is Jamir Watkins' former school. Interesting to me that they are on the list here. Other than that, my takeaway is this is a very winnable recruitment. And quite frankly, a list of schools that I think do not speak to the caliber of player Jamir Watkins is. I am surprised better teams are not after Jamir Watkins right now. What's your reaction to this list?
Two things. One, I think this makes me think higher Jamir Watkins because I respect him putting Florida State on this list just as like I'm respecting you guys that I played there and I'm gonna throw you on this list. Also, I'm not going there, but I respect him throwing them on the list. That hopefully that'll do things for the Seminoles moving forward, wherever they go with that. I agree with your take on it being winnable. Especially if Michigan is in the driver's seat over St. John's, because I think it is a Michigan versus St. John's scenario in this one. And I know that there's other schools on this list. There's also some schools on this list that I don't even think have scholarships available, but with NIL, you can do the whole walk-on, pay them thing. It could work out. But yeah, I still think it comes down to Michigan, St. John's, and I also will agree with your sentiment. Like, Jamir Watkins' list should look like a Kobe Brea level list. Like, that's how it should look. Now, maybe it's a little bit different because it's late in the process, and teams are already filled up. But like, I would expect some better schools on this list than the ones on this list. I also may or may not have just DM'd Jamir Watkins from a burner account saying you and Doug would look great in Manhattan.
I hate you for that.
I'm sorry.
I
want to be honest with you.
Frankie Fiddler or Jamir Watkins?
Jamir Watkins?
Is it better to sign Frankie Fiddler in like the middle of April or like wait until June and make a run at Jamir Watkins?
I mean, some people aren't willing to take that risk to wait all this time.
Yeah,
and
bird in hand.
and hope that Jamir Watkins doesn't go in the draft and comes back.
No, bird in hand. I get it. I'm actually curious because given the fact that this is a winnable list for a player of this caliber, like it does kind of make me look a little sideways at schools who took players that I think are worse than this before this.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think y'all did a good. If we were doing this, and I would still tell Michigan State to like be in on the Jamir Watkins like sweepstakes if we had scholarships open.
Yeah,
like you get Fiddler. But like that doesn't put you out of getting Watkins. Like even for Michigan, like you guys got Roddy Gale. Like despite what position you want to play him, you got some wing players, and then you still have scholarships open. You still go get guys like Jamir Watkins.
Yeah, Reuben Jones too. I think like honestly, looking back, it seems like if you're a school that does have some fundraising abilities, it's a really good move to like leave one spot open.
And also,
crowdsource some things.
Can I ask you a question real quick just to get a little pulse check on where you're at on Jamir Watkins? Would you rather have Mr. Watkins or Mr. Store?
Store.
100%? No questions asked?
No hesitation, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Jamir Watkins is good. I will
I got some hesitation.
You're really high on this kid then. Like really high on this kid.
Yes.
Are you going to remain that high on him if he goes to Michigan?
Yes.
I'm like kind of glad I'm getting this on camera from you now.
Yeah, he will be the best transfer y'all had.
It makes me concerned that he's not going to Michigan, that you're being this high on him because I've never heard this from you. I'm not that high on him. Like I'm don't get me wrong. I think this kid's great. I think he probably is the best player on Michigan, but I think I said this last time. I would lump him in the bucket with Golden, with Wolf, and with Gale. I think any one of those four could be the fourth best of that group, and any one of those four could be the best, depending on how the team shakes out. I don't know. Watkins is probably the most positionally versatile. Like I think he could play the 2 through the 4. I think he's the best defender of the group, but I don't know if he's your best player, are you a good basketball team? Because it wasn't his fault Florida State was bad, but it wasn't good that he was their best player.
Well, the thing is, it's not his fault that his second fiddle was Baba Miller.
Yeah, but isn't it like one of those things where like a UConn type thing where like if Caravan's your fifth guy, you're insane. And if Caravan's your best player, maybe you're not insane. Like that's sort of where I'm at with Jamir. And Michigan needs a guy like
I'm
that.
more so it was what was around him. Like I said, I think I said on the Jamir Watkins video, Florida State would have been Michigan last season record wise if they did
Okay.
not have Jamir Watkins. Like he actually did everything for that basketball team, even get them to whatever wins they had. I mean, they really didn't have a good year. So
Yeah. No, I agree with you for the record. I'm not trying to shit on Jamir Watkins. I wonder like if he's your best player, how good actually are you? Like to me, the best case scenario for Michigan would be you get Jamir Watkins, you feel great, your team feels loaded, but then maybe in reality, Vlad Golden and Roddy Gale end up being your 1 and 2. And Jamir Watkins settles in as like this superstar third option, and then you're really good.
are we positive that you wouldn't take Jamir Watkins over AJ Store?
I really think I am. Talk me into why you think Watkins would be like. Would if you're Kansas, you'd rather have Jamir Watkins than AJ Store?
1,000%.
Explain this one to me because I
Because
don't see this at
I just
all.
think that Jamir Watkins is a more dynamic player than AJ Store is, and I don't think they're as far off as scorers as people say. Like AJ Store averaged 17 last year. I think Jamir Watkins averaged 16. Jamir Watkins averaged double the boards, double the assists. Let me double check right here. He shot better from the field. He shot better from three. AJ Store was better from the free throw line. Like Jamir Watkins turned the ball over more than AJ Store. They're the same size. I just think that Jamir Watkins is a better basketball. I mean, AJ Store, granted, is a sophomore, so younger, could get better, has shown that he can get better. So that there is that in the fold as well. But like, I think right now Jamir Watkins is a better player than AJ Store.
Okay, you make a really compelling argument when you go through the numbers. Yeah, I don't know. I to me, Store is just like eye-poppingly eye test a more explosive player, and Watkins is definitely a better defender. You just read the numbers. Like there's a huge argument that he's been a more productive player in a variety of ways. But yeah, to me, I think like you're hoping Store outside of a Greg Gard offense and what he is right now, the athleticism, the ability in transition, the shot creation stuff could be more alpha-y than maybe Jamir Watkins is. But look, the fact that we're sitting here saying, is he on par or better than AJ Store, given that his list, like who's the best program on his list? Michigan? Like
I mean, given if you're going like off last season, it'd be St. John's, right?
I'm going off just who's the best program. Like who's the best basketball program on a list with St. John's, Oregon, Michigan, and Kansas State and Florida State? Like they're all like fine. There's
Yeah,
no great ones,
yeah.
right? Like so it's crazy, right? It makes him I think this is one of the best values in the portal because if we can sit here and say he might be as impactful as AJ Store, and none of the schools that wanted AJ Store, none of the schools that wanted Kobe Bryant, like you said, want Jamir Watkins at this point, then honestly, isn't this an indication like Dusty has really done some things right this offseason? The fact that like Michigan now feels winnable. He has only entered winnable recruitments, man. Like there have obviously been some players Michigan's missed on because everybody's going to miss on some guys. But like he's not dicking around wasting his time on someone who's inevitably going to end up at Duke. And he's identifying players that I think are really either underpriced or maybe going for lower than they should for how good they are. Of the new schools, because we already did St. John's in Michigan, Oregon, Kansas State, Cincinnati. Which one should scare me most as a Michigan fan?
Kansas State.
I think it's Oregon.
Altman?
I think it's Oregon because they could write a blank check. And
Yeah.
I don't think Kansas State has unlimited funds. I think they have money, but
The only part that gets me with Oregon writing blank checks is that have they written one this year? Like, they're taking the Michigan State method? Like
I'd
they're just
assume they had to pay Bamba, but to me, if they haven't gotten one yet, that means they now have the money for it.
now it's time. Honestly, if I am Oregon, I'm throwing stupid bags at both Coleman and Jamir Watkins, and then I'm riding with that.
Yeah.
And I like that team.
Kansas State's scary for various reasons. I don't consider Cincinnati a serious threat here. Is that naive of me?
A little bit, only because like I think I'm a Wes Miller truther.
I like Wes Miller a lot.
They've actually they got a solid, pieces coming back. They got Dylan Mitchell in the portal. Like,
Yeah, it was really good last season for sure.
yeah.
What option of these six, St. John's, Michigan, Florida State, Oregon, Kansas State, Cincinnati, what option is actually best for Jamir Watkins?
Hmm. Uh, Probably St. John's,
Why?
because I think he can be really good and he doesn't have to be the best player on the team.
Okay. You think that helps him up his professional stock?
Oh, also, I don't know how I forget this point as well. I don't have to watch him at Michigan. Let's not get it twisted. I don't want him there.
So I've made this point already. I don't think playing for Rick Pitino, who has been throwing his players under the bus, you have considered washed for over 3 years and has two ball dominant guards, not one but two. I don't think that's a great situation for him unless they're just going to outpay everybody else. I think it's Michigan or Oregon for best situation. Michigan, I truly think is great because he has the opportunity to be the best player, but he might not have to be, and they might be really good with him. But they don't have a clear ball dominant guy. It's could be the balls in your hands all the time. Oregon would be the same thing. Altman's a coach you trust offensively. He's been pumping out great offenses for 2 decades. And to me, like who's Oregon's best player right now? Shellstad? Bamba?
Probably, yeah. Bamba or Shellstad.
To me, if you dump Watkins in the mix with those guys, it's very similar to Michigan, where it's like, okay, we have a bucket of good players. Some nights it'll be Watkins, some nights it won't. But I think honestly, it should come down to who Watkins feels more confident in at this point: Dusty May or Dana Altman. That's what I think. If the money is the same, that should be the pitch, and hopefully Dusty has a good chance here. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.